Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. We'll go back to the part 2 of our discussion where we will go on to present the positive evidence concerning to the deity of the Messiah and then answer the questions and objection concerning it. Well, last time ay naitalakay po natin ito as we respond some of the claims of Mr. Rashid Indasan. Ukol po sa sinabi niya na first and foremost daw di ba ang Diyos ay hindi nakikita? Yes, we agree on that. And then, di ba si Kristo nakita? Therefore, Jesus is not God. But wait, before he became man, ano ba siya dati? Bago siya nagkatawang tao. Ano yung kanyang nature dati? Well, that's what we must have to examine here. And now, by the grace of God, ating ipagpapatuloy ang discussion na to. So, let's go back to the video of Mr. Indasan. At bilang paalala po sa lahat, this is not some sort of parang ranting or whatever. No. We are discussing here, we are responding his arguments here. Okay? Now, let's continue. Yeah, unless you will go on to examine the context of that passage. Remember, si Pablo na apostol ang nagsulat ng passage na yan, ng 1 Timothy. So let me read here first this passage. So sa 1 Timothy chapter 6 verses 13 down to 16, ganito pong sinasabi, iniuutos ko sa inyo sa pangalan ng Diyos na nagbibigay buhay sa lahat at sa harap ni Kristo Jesus na nagbigay ng mabuting patutuo kay Poncio Pilato. Sundin mong mabuti ng may katapatan ang mga iniutos sa iyo hanggang sa pagbabalik ng Panginoong Hesus Kristo. Sa verse 14 muna tayo. Why in the name of common sense that Paul called Jesus as Lord? Hindi naman dahil parang kwan lang or let's say pagbigay galang lang dahil sa position or some sort. May mas malalim pang dahilan yan, okay? At bukod dyan, there are passages where Jesus was called Lord in any passages in the New Testament. At saka kung i-connecta ito ng mga New Testament writers sa Old Testament, it even pointed out that the term kurios, when it comes on the context on Jesus, it even points out about Yahweh. Okay? Now, at this point, on verse 15, sinasabi, siya'y darating sa panahong itinakda ng mapagpala at makapangyarihang Diyos, hari ng mga hari at Panginoon ng mga Panginoon. Siya lamang ang walang kamatayan at nananatili sa liwanag na di matitigan. Walang taong nakakita o makakakita sa kanyang karangalan at kapangyarihang walang hanggan. Amen. Ngayon, ang punto dito ni Mr. Indasan, since God was unseen and Jesus had been seen, in short, Jesus can't be God. Pero teka lang, not so fast. What about the Old Testament era na kung saan nakita ni Abraham ang Diyos, nakita ni Jacob ang Diyos, nasaksihan ng mga Israelites, sina Moses and Aaron ang Diyos at that point of time? Okay, context again. Hindi nila tuwirang nakita ang Ama diyan. Ang nakita nila mismo ay ang pre-incarnate na si Jesus. Okay? So, ngayon, baka sinasabi, paanong ang Diyos ay nakita at hindi nakita at the same time? Diyan papasok yung biblical teaching ng Trinity. Although sa Old Testament, prophetically, na-mention yan, na-record po yan. Okay? And then, as we go on through this, how about the book of Revelation as well? Na kung saan binanggit si Kristo ay tinawag na hari ng mga hari at Panginoon ng mga Panginoon. Well, the problem here is improper po. Improper po yung ginawang hermeneutics ni Mr. Indasan dito. But anyway, let's continue. Yes. Jesus also said that He is the resurrection and the life. He even claimed that He gives eternal life to those who follow Him. Wait, in Matthew chapter 17, nasaksihan ni na Peter, John, and James yung grabing karangalan at kaluwalhatian ng Panginoong Jesus. Okay, so my assignment to our friends here, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, basahin niyo yung Matthew chapter 17. And please, if you want to write in the comment section, sino ba tong isa na mapapansin na nag-transform into some sort of a being na hindi malapitan, sobrang liwanag. Mas maliwanag pa sa sikat ng araw. Well, it only makes sense in the light of the doctrine of the Trinity. Alright? Anyway, let's continue. Yeah. Maliban lang po kung binasa po ninyo ng kabuuan ang gospel accounts. Sa Mateo, sa Marcos, sa Lucas, sa Juan. And then in John chapter 17 verse 5, di ba sabi ng Panginoong Jesus when He prayed to the Father? Ang sabi niya, kaya Ama, ipagkaloob mo sa akin ngayon ang kaluwalhatiang taglay ko sa piling mo bago palikhain ang daigdig. How come that Jesus has the glory with the Father before the world was if Jesus was just a mere man? Yes, because He became man. Right? Kumbaga, He set aside His divine prerogatives when He became man. Anong problema doon? Ad hoc. Yes, since Jesus declared that He is the resurrection and the life. Once more. Pero sa hadith, mayroong mapapansin na si Allah ay may shin, si Allah ay mayroong mukha, si Allah ay may dalawang kanang kamay. Pwede nyo pong basahin sa hadith yan para makumpirma nyo. What do you mean by the term tanging and lamang here? What do you mean by that? Yes, we totally agree on that. But what do you mean by that? Are you talking about the Islamic version or the historical Christianity here? Napaka-ironic lang na he quoted the Bible just to prove his own belief. And then after all, pagka nabanggit natin yung mga passages when it talks about the deity of Christ, our Muslim friends always went on to reinterpret those passages. Why? And now, pagka nabanggit yung mga talagang undisputed facts tungkol kay Kristo sa Bible, like He is the divine Son of God, who is equal with the Father in nature and essence, that He died on the cross for our sins and rose again from the dead, sasabihin, the Bible is corrupted. What? Back to the video. If you are talking about God here, yes, the triune God. The problem here is this. Bakit kaya hindi po may explain o may sagot ng mga Muslim apologists yung mga tanong tulad ng paano may re-reconcile yung pagiging walang hanggan ng Quran sa pagiging walang hanggan ni Allah? Yun ang isa doon. Also, paano si Allah ay isa meron siyang 99 names? Paano yun? Actually, until today, wala akong natanggap na sagot mula sa mga kaibigan nating Muslim concerning to this. Wala pa ni isa. As in, wala pa ni isa. None. As in, none. Yes, He was being called Lord of Lords in Revelation chapter 19. Yeah, Matthew 17 proves it right. What do you mean by that, Mr. Indasan? Yes, he is, according to the testimony of the eyewitnesses on the first century, not according to the one who claimed to be prophet almost 500 years after the time of the apostles of Christ. Yeah, that's your problem, not to the Christians who believe in that. Why? Because napakalinaw po na we accepted all of the scriptures here. At saka, if God exists and He revealed Himself as triune, who in the world are we to complain about it? Kasi ang tanging problem dyan, they are those people who denied the absolute deity of Christ and the doctrine of the Trinity. They just went on cutting some of the passages in the Bible out of context para lamang patunayan ng kanilang belief. Patunayan lamang ng kanilang agenda. What? What do you mean by that? Clarification 101. When we point out the fact that Jesus is God, we are not talking about Jesus as the Father or one person in one nature. We are not talking about that. Will you please, for the love of God, stop misinterpreting what Christians believe? When we say Jesus is God, we are talking about His divine nature, which is equal with the Father. Alright? And since God is who He is, and He revealed Himself into one being with three in persons, ulitin, one being, three persons, hindi po one God with three gods. Sorry po, pero mali yung ganoong paliwanag. At dito pa lang lalabas na mayroon talagang mali sa paliwanag niya. Pero, gamitin natin yung kanyang argument. How about Allah as one with 99 names? So kung tama siya, so si Allah ay isang Diyos. Pero mayroong 99 na Diyos. Na I guess you already followed. So dun pa lang, strawman na yung argument niya. Alright? Okay, let me read first. I don't know kung na-address natin to on the past videos natin, but sige, basahin muna natin. Hindi pa tayo nakapunta sa mismong presentation. But anyway, that's okay para maging malinaw po sa lahat. Okay, let me read here. Colossians chapter 1 verses 15 down to 16. Ganito ang sabi. Si Kristo ang larawan ng Diyos na di nakikita. Siyang panganay na anak at pangunahin sa lahat ng mga nilikha. Sapagkat sa pamamagitan niya ay nilikha ang lahat ng nasa langit at nasa lupa, nakikita man o hindi, pati ang mga espiritual na kapangyarihan, paghahari, pamamahala at pamumuno. Ang lahat ay nilikha ng Diyos sa pamamagitan niya at para sa Kanya. Actually, it's very clear that it was talking about Christ Himself as the perfect image of who God is. Because through Jesus, everything has been created, maging ikaw, maging ako. Ngayon, anong interpretation ni Ms. Lindasan dito? Let us see. Siya raw. What do you mean by that? Teka, pakiulit. Parang na-misread ko ba? O mali yata ang pagkarinig ko? Okay, if Jesus was called God, if Jesus was called the image of invisible God, context clues. You see, basahin natin yung mismong patotoo ng Panginoong Hesus sa Matthew chapter 11, verse 27, para makita kung sino bang tinutukoy. Take note, we believe that the Father was called God here. Wala kaming problema dyan as Trinitarians. Anyway, sabi ng Panginoong Hesus sa Matthew 11:27, ibinigay na sa akin ng aking Ama ang lahat ng bagay. Walang nakakakilala sa anak kundi ang ama, at walang nakakakilala sa ama kundi ang anak, at ang mga pinili ng anak na pagpapahayagan niya. It sounds like only the Father knows the Son, and only the Son knows the Father. And if Jesus is the divine Son of God, yes, He is equal with the Father. That's why it only makes sense that Paul declared that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. Kasi wala naman talaga nakakakita sa Ama. Ang anak ang nag-reveal kung sino ang Diyos. Because He is equal with the Father. Paulit-ulit na yun, mga kapatid. Now, sige, tuloy natin ang kanyang interpretation. Context clues. I guess he will go on to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 kung saan sinasabi na yung mga lalaki ay natawag na larawan ng Diyos. Pero please, wag masyadong mabilis sa pag-interpret na, so ibig palang sabihin yung mga lalaki anak na may turing na kalarawan ng Diyos ay Diyos din. Hold on, Mr. Indasan. Tingnan mo yung context doon sa naturang passage na yung binabasa. Kasi doon pa lang, you are being dishonest here in interpreting those texts. Tingnan natin kung tama yung aking palagay dyan. Pero kung mali ako, well, itama natin para sure. Okay? But anyway, naalala ko kasi yung video na napanood ko from him na ganun yung kanyang interpretation. Or let's say, misinterpretation. Yeah, problema nyo, not us. Kasi kung titingnan naman natin yung context, mamaya, it only proves that his interpretation is wrong. Bakit hindi niya binasa yung... nabasa nga niya yung verse 16, pero hindi yata niya napansin na yun ang pinaka-context kung bakit tinawag si Kristo na kalarawan ng Diyos na buhay. Because through Him, all things were made in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. Yun po yung nasasabi ng naturang teksto. Tapos bigla siyang naglundag sa isa pang passage. For what? Really? Kaso kung tingnan natin mismo yung Islamic arguments nito, sorry to tell you my friends, if we became objective here, naku po, lalabas na mas mahina yung argument po ng mga Muslim apologists. Bakit? Bukod sa puro misinterpretation sa Christian teaching ang isinasagawa ng mga Muslim apologists, what did they do? Pagkadating sa mga hard questions concerning to what they believe, like the historical aspect of what they believe, like si Allah ba talaga isa, pero yung eternality ng Quran, o dili kaya yung wholes of the narrative na sinabi ni Yasser Qadhi before? What in the name of common sense was that? Yeah, we also using it the same tactic that you are using when we are quoting your own beliefs, like in the Quran and Hadith. This is how the ignorance of those people driven out. Bakit? First and foremost, when on the Colossians chapter 1, hindi naman tinutukoy dyan na yung termino na kalarawan or image of God, ganun na. No! Okay, let's point out this way. Kasi ang punto kasi niya, di ba kayo naniniwala na when Jesus was called the image of invisible God, ibig sabihin siya'y God na. Paano naman itong isang passage na ganito? Okay, Teka lang, maging malinaw po tayo dito para mapansin nyo kung paano natutumbat-tumbalin yung kanyang argument. Okay, so when we go on to the term Jesus as the image of the invisible God, ano ba ang punto ng tekstong yun? Take note, we have read already that passage, right? Ngayon, ano bang ibig sabihin ng naturang talata? Doon sa context ng ng Colossians chapter 1 verse 16. Malinaw po kasi yung talatang yon, no? Napakalinaw na ipinahayag. Let me read here once again. Sa passage pa rin yun, no? He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation, for in Him all things were created. Wait, ayan na pala yung context niya. Kaya siya tinawag na the image of the invisible God and the firstborn of all creation. Kasi, first and foremost, siya ay supreme sa lahat ng nilikha, since through Him all things were made. In heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or authorities, all things were created through Him and for Him. And in verse 17, anong sabi? He, si Kristo pong tinutukoy dyan. He is before all things, and in Him all things hold together. So what is the point? Paul teaches in that passage that Jesus existed before all created things, which means that He is eternal, that all created things were made in, through, and for Him, since He is God's beloved Son. Paul also states that the Son is actively sustaining all creation, a function which God alone performs. So yun mismo yung context ng naturang passage na yon. Kaya yung sinasabi niya, ibig sabihin ba dahil doon ay Diyos? Another strawman argument yun. Another strawman argument yun. Okay? At yung paliwanag niya dito, it does not prove what he thinks. Bakit? Sige. Tingnan natin ang kanyang argument sa isa pang pagkakataon. That's what I had predicted. Tama. Sa verse 7 ba kanya? Sige, tingnan natin ang kanyang interpretation. This is how Muslim apologists became so frustrated on misinterpreting those passages. Bakit? Okay, tingnan nyo yung sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11 as a whole. Take note, as a whole wag pong yung puro lamang kapiranggot lang na passage na gaya ng ginagawa nito. Basahin muna natin ng kabuuan so that we will see what does it mean. Magsimula ko sa verse 2. Excuse me. Sa 1 Corinthians 11 verse 2 down to teka lang down to 8. So verse 2, sabi ni Pablo, ipinagmamalaki ko kayo dahil naalala ninyo ako at sinusunod ninyo ang mga itinuturo ko sa inyo. Ngunit nais kong maunawaan ninyo na si Kristo ang nakakasakop sa bawat lalaki, ang lalaki ang nakakasakop sa kanyang asawa, at ang Diyos naman ang nakakasakop kay Kristo. Ang lalaking nananalangin o nagpapahayag ng mensaheng mula sa Diyos nang may takip ang ulo ay nagdudulot ng kahihiyan sa nakakasakop sa kanya. Ang babae namang nananalangin o nagpapahayag ng mensaheng mula sa Diyos ng walang belo ay nagdudulot ng kahihiyan sa nakakasakop sa kanya. Para na rin siyang babaeng ahit ang ulo. Kung ayaw magbelo ang isang babae, magpaahit na siya ng buhok. Yamang kahiyahiya sa babae ang magpaahit o magpagupit ng buhok, dapat siyang magbelo. Hindi dapat magbelo ang lalaki dahil siya'y larawan at karangalan ng Diyos. Ngunit ang babae ay karangalan ng lalaki sapagkat hindi mula sa babae ang lalaki, kundi ang babae nagmula sa lalaki. Wait lang. Bakit hindi binasa yung pangalawang part noon, ha? And then, tingnan muna natin yung naturang passage. Ano bang ibig sabihin yan? So, listen to this. Paul has endorsed the fact that both men and women pray and prophesy in the Corinthian church services. Take note, ang context ito, syempre yung payo ni Pablo sa mga taga-Korinto, na mga Kristiyano roon. That action itself is not something Paul addresses here. What he has mentioned is appearances, specifically clothing and head coverings, and what those imply to others in that culture. So based on the overwhelming cultural perception of what covered or uncovered heads meant, Paul gives different guidelines for men and women. O baka sasabihin ng mga Muslim friends natin, di ba mayroong term ng tungkol sa nakabelo? Di ba ginagawa ng mga Muslim women? Well, irrelevant po yung naturang argument. No, it is very irrelevant. Anyway, Corinthian men, yung mga lalaki sa Korinto, they must not have their heads covered, perhaps by pulling their robes over their heads as the Romans did when worshiping pagan gods. Yun pala yun. Women, though, must keep their heads covered as was apparently the custom of the day for all women in public. So here's my question to our Muslim friends. If you'll use that argument, kasi nakabelo yung mga babae, so Muslims, so dapat ganun din gagawin ng mga babae bilang patunay hinggil sa Islam. Teka lang. Paano yung mga nakabelong babae sa iba't ibang religious groups, kahit sa mga pagans? Ibig bang sabihin mga Muslim sila? Are you really sure for that? Also, women though must keep their heads covered, as was apparently the custom of the day for all women in public. So in that era, not on the 7th century era, but on 1st century era, a woman with a publicly uncovered head would be viewed in much the same way as a modern woman wearing a revealing bathing suit in the church. Anong punto ni Pablo? Pagka daw hindi raw kinover ng babae ang kanyang buhok, kumbaga, doon sa mga taga-Korinto, parang ikinukumpara niya ito sa isang babae na walang saplot sa loob ng congregation. Parang yun ang punto niya eh. Kaya nga ang punto ay magbelo naman. No? Sabi niya. Also, Paul begins to explain why this matters. Bakit daw ganon? Bakit niya ito nasabi? Kasi men are said to be the image and glory of God. Paul appears to be referencing Genesis 1 verse 26 na kung saan sinabi ng Diyos, let us make man in our image after our likeness. But wait, do our Muslim friends believe that we were created in the image of God? Sigurado ako sasagutin ng mga kaibigan nating Muslim, hindi. And yet, Mr. Indasan used that passage para sabihin, hindi totoo yan. Kung totoo yan, ibig sabihin yung mga lalaki, Diyos din. Another strawman argument yun, kapatid. Also, man was formed by God from dust in His own image to become at that moment the glory of God's creation. Yun pala yun. Women, generally speaking, is the glory of man. Paul will explain in the following passage, nabasa natin kanina, that this is because Eve was taken out of man, fashioned from Adam's rib when she was created. So, sa context ng kasulatan na ating nabasa, na minention kanina ni Mr. Indasan, ano yung intention ni Pablo rito? His intent is not to disparage the value of women. His meaning must be drawn from the full range of his remarks. The main point of this is what it means when Christians totally ignore the implications of their freedoms and dishonor their head, spiritually and socially, in the process. At kung babasahin natin ang kabuuan ng 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 2 to 16, ganito lang kasimple yung kanyang summary. That passage describes Paul's correction of an inappropriate practice of some women in the Corinthian church. Contrary to social norms of that era, they were not wearing head coverings when praying or prophesying before the church. Paul insists that both women and men consider what their chosen appearance implies about their relationship to God. With God, I mean. Cultural details may vary, but the principle does not. Christian men and women ought to be respectable in their manners and dress. Ang punto ni Pablo, bawat Kristiyanong lalaki at babae dapat maging respetado sila sa kanilang mga ugali at maging sa pananamit. Yun ang punto. Also, in parallel, this teaching also touches on the concept of spiritual leadership. So, yun pala, iba yung interpretation na binanggit ni Mr. Indasan doon sa malinaw na context na ating nasaliksik. So, therefore, bukod sa nag-jump siya bigla sa 1 Corinthians 11 verse 7 to prove his point. Actually, it does not prove his point here. And by the way, mukhang napahaba ang ating explanation for this one. Okay? So, hindi pa tayo napupunta dito. Hindi pa. But that's okay. Because Lord willing, maybe on the third or maybe last part of this series, we will go on to the positive case why we believe that Jesus is not just a moral teacher. So, ipapakita natin ito. Lord willing, mas lalo natin itong may address. So, at this very moment, maraming salamat po sa inyong panunood. At nawa, maisaliksik po natin mabuti yung mga passages na yan. Pero, teka lang, tapusin muna natin yung kanyang sinabi bago natin matapos to. The problem here is not on the passage itself. Ang problema ay yung kanyang interpretation. Take note, kinonekta niya yung naturang passage sa Colossians 1 doon sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 7 without realizing na different yung context niyan. Take note, sa Colossians 1, binanggit kung bakit sinabing si Kristo ay kalarawan ng di nakikitang Diyos. Bakit? Because through Him, all things were made in heaven and on earth, and He is supreme over all things. Mas supremo pa siya kaysa sa iyong propeta, Mr. Indasan. Well then, Lord willing, we'll present the positive case on why Jesus really claimed to be God through His words, actions, and His miracles. At kung ano ba yung kung ano yung paniniwala ng first century church noon. At saka sana naman masagot naman ng ating mga kaibigan yung tungkol doon, yung how can they reconcile the eternality of the Quran to the eternality of Allah. Abay, sana naman masagot yan. So that's all for this hour. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. God bless you guys and have a great day. Mag-ingat ang lahat. Stay safe.